Oddly enough, I started my life like you in social communication and media. In fact, that's what my work was. I worked quite some time with FAO in Rome on communication in the village and using video. Anyway, so that's just a thing. But for last 10 years, my work has been with an organization we created called Open Health Systems Lab. And the whole idea is to look at therapy, or look at medicine from a point of view how it can be available across the world, not just in Western countries. And so it's a consortium of people that we brought together from all over the world and who are working on several different research projects. One of the research projects is called Ayurveda Developmental Therapeutics Program. And, development therapeutics, as the word saying, it's about using, developing therapeutics. So because some of us who learned from others, I didn't know anything about Ayurveda or Sanskrit for that matter. Learning from others, we discovered that there is knowledge in the Ayurveda, in the Sanskrit text of Ayurveda, scientific knowledge, and people need to be able to access it, especially those who don't know Sanskrit, who don't know Ayurveda, because the prevalent medical system is the Western medical system. So we worked with the Western medical system and here to see how we can bring them together. So as a result of all of that, what is happening is there are several streams of projects in this area. One of them is, as I mentioned, ADTP, or Ayurveda Developmental Therapeutics Program, where the idea is so a number of people, both from Ayurvedic and Western science, are working together, and also from other disciplines, not only just that. And as a part of that, we are doing what we call a Sanskrit natural language processing initiative on that, and that's one of the reasons why I came here, to learn what's happening. And Martin and we have been working for some time, Martin, Amba, and people like that. So the whole idea is what we're discovering is people know Ayurveda by rote, and they kind of recite it, say, oh, this is what was prescribed in Ayurveda, in Shloka. And our interest is to actually see, because the more we look into it, the more it looks like it is a modern science, a system biology. They're looking into it. I don't know how they arrived at those conclusions without all the instruments and all the things, but they did obviously seem to. So partly because of our effort, the National Institutes of Health in US has now recognized what they call the whole person research, which if you read through it, it sounds like Ayurveda without calling it Ayurveda. So there is a recognition that it is not alternate medicine, it could be a mainline medicine. So what we're trying to do is to build and this is another surprising thing, that although going back to Leda Lovelace, who's considered to be one of the founders of computing, she talked about Sanskrit being natural language for computers. And but to this day, there isn't a Sanskrit natural language processing. There is translators, a lot of which. And the reason for natural language processing is that allows, first of all, in Sanskrit, what we're discovering is not the original text alone, but the commentaries together, read together, that you can get to the source of the knowledge. So we are hoping that we will be able to collaboratively, and Martin is a very important part of it, and this group, the Amba and Martin and others, that collaboratively we will be able to build, working with other people in computer science in MIT and Stanford and elsewhere in the world, we'll be able to build a natural language processor for Sanskrit. So which means that any person who doesn't know Sanskrit can actually query, and hopefully like ChatGPT kind of thing, can ask a question, get an answer of what it is, and work with it. So that's what we're trying to do. And yeah. See, so the areas of health that you're focusing on, cancer, the mental diseases, the whole disease of aging, for example, Alzheimer and a whole lot of things. It is very, very clear that there are two things which are very clear. One is that people who suffer from those diseases and their caretakers search for knowledge, because you sort of come to a very difficult point in your life that you know that you're likely to die. I mean, maybe you have 3 months or even 3 years or whatever it is, but it is a terminal disease. So they are knowledge seekers, very, very much. And there are cases where they have managed to avoid some time the conventional medicine and being able to actually survive longer, the good quality of life. So that's one another incentive. So what we're trying to, and the other part is there is, as you know, and there's hardly any real treatment in these areas. I mean, very little. And partly because this is not very profitable area to work in. So given both the things, we think that this will produce new integrative medicine, which will have little or no toxic effect, because that's one of the problems of chemical medicine is that sometimes the medicine is worse than the disease. And, like in breast cancer, you find women rather will suffer rather than take chemotherapy. I mean, that is that part of it. So the idea is there will be new therapies that will emerge. Using the knowledge of Ayurveda and combining it with the knowledge of Western sciences, which is necessary, and create new therapy. And there is an argument that I get into with traditional Ayurvedic people. They say, no, we have to have the medicine, formulation which was prescribed 3,000 years back. And I keep on arguing that Ayurveda is a science. So if you go to the science, they were making those formulations for their patients. So actually, it was translation research, that they understood the condition of the patient, then they researched it, and then they formulated thing and gave it. And it was precision medicine because it was for that particular patient. Now, these are the ideas: systems biology, precision medicine, translation research are the ideas that the Western medicine is chasing. I mean, so here's a body of knowledge which could be useful and make it available to people. And eventually, I don't know about India so much, but in America, the patients almost have gained a right to demand the kind of therapy they need, as long as, and the doctors agree to provide that, as long as it's within the regulation. So far, they usually patient demand expensive medicine or treatment because they think expensive treatment is better than the economic treatment. But I think with if we can really succeed in creating, helping people create some new therapies, I mean, it'll be cheaper, better.